Hello, Shahar, and thank you everyone for joining early. We will be getting started promptly at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello. Good to see you. Great being here.
We appreciate you taking the time out, Shahar. I'm sure everyone's excited to get an update on the story.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, everyone, for joining early. We will be getting started in around 2 minutes. Okay, it's now 11 a.m. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, this is Barrett Boone with RedChip Companies. Thank you for joining today's event with RailVision, which trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker RVSN. With us today, we have Shahar Hania, CEO and co-founder of RailVision. We will begin with a brief presentation in a moment, and then we'll open up the event for Q&A. I will keep everyone's lines muted during the presentation. Users may submit a question at any time by using the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom window. Now, before we begin, please allow me to read the Safe Harbor Statement. This call may contain forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. All statements pertaining to future financial and/or operating results, along with statements about the future expectations, beliefs, goals, plans, or prospects expressed by management constitute forward-looking statements. Any statements that are not historical fact should also be considered forward-looking statements. Of course, forward-looking statements involve risks and uncertainties. With that said, I will now turn the call over to Shahar. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great being here. And my name is Shahar Hania, CEO and co-founder of RailVision. Let me start with a short clip, and then you feel free to ask and stop me whatever you want. And then, if no question, we'll move directly to the presentation.
Every year, there are thousands.
Can everybody hear? Everybody see?
Yes, the audio is coming through clear and we can see the video as well.
Great.
Of railway accidents. In 2019, there were 1,552 accidents in Europe alone. These accidents cost the lives of 824 people. 618 more were injured, and the total damage is estimated to have cost about 3.5 billion euros.
This is the moment a train driver in Poland ran down the aisle warning passengers seconds before the train crashed into a lorry.
RailVision presents the artificial intelligence revolution for preventing railway accidents. The systems operate day and night under all weather conditions. They are able to sense beyond the required braking distance through a combination of sensors specially developed in the company's laboratories and artificial intelligence. With these systems, a previously unavoidable accident is transformed into a controlled braking sequence, enabling the driver to safely bring the train to a complete stop. Detection of humans and vehicles in an urban environment. Detection of vehicles at long distances. Detection in a railway operational environment. Detection of the train travel route. Detection of locomotives and rail cars. The system relies on artificial intelligence to detect, identify, and classify objects. Detection of braking shoes in a railway operational environment. Detection during limited visibility. Detection of large animals. RailVision. Trains just got smarter.
Okay, so we'll go directly to the presentation. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so a bit about RedVision. We were founded in 2016 with 4 founders, and I'm honored to be one of them. We have more than 60 employees, where the majority of them are R&D personnel, scientists, researchers, engineers, and so on. And we have a strategic investor, Knorr-Bremse, world leader in the train industry. A bit about Knorr. They are in this industry for more than 110 years. So they know the market, they know the customers, they're already located all over the world, and they're traded in a valuation of about 10 billion euros. But I think that the most important thing for us as a small company from Israel is being connected with somebody that is already has a global presence. Imagine that we have to take that from scratch and build this ecosystem of selling. It will be, let's say, a very challenging task to do. But now we have it in place. We have the global entities of Knorr-Bremse already boots on the ground. They already have the contact to the customers. They're already Knorr's customers. So this is why this is a great benefit for us as a company. So what's the problem? You know, a train needs about half a mile to stop, give or take. Okay, depends on the train, depends on the weather conditions and so on. And a train operator, conductor, driver, whatever you call it, sees and classifies in a day up to 300 meters, 400 meters, nothing more than that. And at night, he sees nothing. So in a matter of fact, the train driver is a matter irrelevant in terms of avoiding accident. Our system can classify up to 2 kilometers day, night, 24/7, rain, snow. So by that, providing an alert to the driver and that he has enough time to respond accordingly, stop the train, slow the train, sound horn, or whatever is needed to avoid this terrible accident. Because you know, this accident beside casualties, God forbid, as also the damage to the platform itself. because the platforms, it might take even up to 1 year to fix it and get it back to business. And you know that it is said, when wheels are not turning, you are not earning. So this is exactly what we can prevent, what we are preventing by avoiding those terrible accidents. And you know, just lately, the last accident that happened in Palestine, Amtrak was delayed because of Norfolk Southern, the NS freight company, has a derailment, and Amtrak has an impact, has delayed because of that. So beside the damage, the direct damage to the train itself, it damages indirectly to all of the network of the trains using the same tracks. So this is a terrible impact and huge damages to all of the operators. So this is exactly what we can prevent by using our technology. So when the train operators understood that they have a problem, they looked to the right and left and saw that the most advanced industry in that sense is the automotive. But unfortunately, from their point of view, the available technologies from that industry are good for 50 meters, 100 meters, nothing more than that. You're talking about lidars, radars that usually are good for vehicles, for cars, but not good enough for trains, because trains need 200 meters for marshalling yard and up to 2 kilometers at main line. So this is exactly what Rail Vision is addressing, and is not looking for the automotive industry because it is not relevant. What is our solution? We have an external sensor unit that is combined from very sensitive visual sensor, and also a thermal imager that can look day and night 24/7 out there and classify up to 2 kilometers. Quite a lot of know-how, and it is all built inside Rail Vision about the optics, the electro-optics, the sensors, the way of transmitting the information to the computing unit that is inside. And the computing unit that is inside is running artificial intelligence, deep learning technologies in real time, which is very unique, I would say, in this industry to Rail Vision, as far as we know. So this is a great benefit. And I can say that as for now, as far as we know, we are the only ones all over the world that are able to put a system on the table or on the locomotive, and you can start working. On the left, you can see the mainline system, our flagship system that can classify up to 2 kilometers. You can see behind that in the background, the installation that we did on the long-term pilot with Israeli Railways. As you may notice through the PRs, we managed to sign a contract for the very first 10 units of this kind of system to be installed on their locomotives. And this is the first time all over the world that somebody is deploying these kind of systems. And on the right, you can see the marshalling yard system that we've developed with SBB Cargo. Marshalling yard is a place, imagine 3 trains coming from the port, carrying 100 wagons each. The first one carries wheat, the second one carries sand, and the third one carries coal. Now you have to arrange, disassemble, and assemble the train that goes to Berlin, for example, that carries 3 wagons each. So all of these operational activity is taking place in the marshalling yard. So you can understand the very low efficiency that this operational thing is happening, because you have one person and the other person has to be on the other side. And if there's only one person, he has to go from one side of the train to the other side. This is only, you can imagine the people that is going 1 mile, which is give or take the length of a train. So you understand how non-efficient this process is. And with our technology, we can increase efficiency from 3% to 2% to 1%, depends on the use case and the infrastructure, but can easily be much safer and in a matter of fact, decrease dramatically the damages and be more efficient. But the most dramatic problem that they have is the human resources shortage. We were discussing with a US-based company that shared with us that they are recruiting people, training them for 2 months, and after 1 month, they just retire. They cannot stand the conditions standing out there, cold, snow, night, 24/7. These are very hard, difficult environmental conditions to work in. So the only solution is technology. And this is exactly where we fit in. So a bit about the size of the industry. So, you just understand that whenever infrastructure and transportation are involved, it means a huge amount of money. So whenever we can contribute to the efficiency of this activity, it means that we are in business. Also, going from maintenance to predictive maintenance. Imagine a train that goes for the trains that goes from Canada to Mexico. So through this route, you might encounter some vegetation that penetrate the gauge of the train. And instead of waiting till it hits the train and cause a damage or derailment, you can define in our system that already installed on top of the locomotive. You can look outside and provide an alert when it penetrates to the predefined area. And then the maintenance guys just go out there and take care of this problem. But imagine that you're collecting data through all of the year. So the maintenance guys with all this information can predict and spread out the teams according to the predicted maintenance a year ahead. So it's going to be much more efficient, much more cheaper to the operator. And this is exactly what we can provide to the operators. A bit about the business model. Besides of selling the system to the operator, the locomotive serves about 20, 30 years, give or take. So we have to support this system through all of these years. So the service and also the obsolescence management, because electronic components last for about 5 years. So whenever there's a failure, it is not just replacing the component, because it might not be it might be obsolete already. So with our service, we can take care of this problem and have this service paid according to the SLA through all of the life cycle of the locomotive. And beside of that, additional feature, software licensing, updates, and so on, all of this will generate recurring revenues through all of these service period. Here you can see our system, our first system that we sold to SBB Cargo on the locomotive. And on the right, you can see it was a dense fog. I personally was inside this locomotive. You couldn't see a thing. And without technology, we managed to classify the tracks, classify the wagon that is in front of us, and also the person, which is very close and you couldn't see him with your bare eyes. So, and I don't know any other technology, radar, LIDAR, that will be able to classify to this resolution the person that is out there. Rio Tinto, a mining company that runs its operation in Pilbara Desert in Australia. Their train is already autonomous, but they have one problem. They don't have any mean or any measure to detect and classify obstacles before colliding into them. So this is why they made all the way to Israel to witness our technology. And after doing that, we signed a contract with Hitachi, which is their integrator, and we delivered the system on time. We ran the system for about 4 or 5 months long-term pilot, and it was outperformed, very successful. And we are negotiating the next step into that operator. And I can say that the potential there is 220 locomotives. So you understand, even with not a big operator, the huge deal that can be conducted and the great potential. Beside of the additional services related to the signaling and related to other systems that can be integrated together with our system. Israeli Railways, from about 7 years ago, we signed a contract with Israeli Railways, collaborating with them, collecting data, free access to whatever information is needed, free access to locomotives, drivers, operators, switch yards, tracks, whatever is needed in order to develop this kind of system. So beside of the technology that is involved here, we have also a great barrier for other competitors to come just by having the relevant data for our system. And this is because of this collaboration, strategic collaboration with Israel Railways. But beside of that, after conducting more than a year long-term pilot with them, they signed a contract with them because our system was outperformed for the very first 10 mainline systems to be delivered to them and to be installed on actual or operational passenger trains and also freight trains as well, which is a great breakthrough that we made this year. Let's talk about the future. The world is going autonomous, and no doubt that the first industry that will go autonomous is the rail industry. We see it already going autonomous. Metros, we see Rio Tinto, and all the others will follow them. Because, when you have a driver or engineer, you have to take care of him. You have to make sure that he's coming on time, is not tired, is not playing with his iPad, and is not eating, and so on. When you are going autonomous, you cannot go autonomous without eyes. And as for now, we are the only ones all over the world, as far as we know, that can put a system on the table which is battle-proven and already have been purchased, and tell you can move on towards autonomous. A bit about the people. So the chairman of the board is a senior vice president from Knorr-Bremse. He has Mr. Mark Libery. He has a vast experience in sales in the rail sector, and we benefit out of him quite a lot on daily basis. Myself, I'm from a technological background, and I served in the military as a technological expert, electro-optics expert since '94. And through that, I was involved in after that, I was involved in the communication industries, military industry, Elbit, Elop, global companies, Bedrow Systems. I was dealing with sensors, algorithms, missile warning systems, jamming missiles for living, and then we established Rail Vision. Ofer Nazve, which is the CFO, vast experience with public companies in Israel and also in the US. A bit about the financial data that you can also look through the last PR regarding that. These are the numbers that you can see. So if I'll summarize this deck, we have a strategic investor that is supporting the company in all terms. The market is just huge. The market is here. We are not talking about a dream company. We are not talking about an app in your iPhone. We are talking about a sustainable industry. So whatever would happen, trains will still run. And this is a huge market, and everybody there understand that they have to go towards digitalization and automation. The system is already under contract, you saw it. And the long-term revenue with the operators is, I can say, promised. And of course, the strong management with the vast experience will lead the company forward. Well, thank you. That's it, I think. If you have further questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. We are now going to open up the call for questions. Participants who wish to speak to Shahar should indicate that they have a question by using the raise hand tool. You may also type in your question using the Q&A tool. And Shahar, I see that we already have 6 questions queued up from when you were presenting. So let's go ahead and start off with William's question. I just listened to the report on the Wall Street Journal about the Ohio train wreck. Apparently it was caused by an overheated bearing. There are sensors along the track that detect this, and in this case, it was detected and the train was in the process of deaccelerating. Your technology detects obstructions and physical abnormalities on the track. How will your technology interface with such existing sensors and aid in the prevention of such incidents?
Well, very good question. For that matter, for that collision, I can say that with the current system, we will probably not be able to prevent this collision, this derailment, just because it was not an obstacle. It was not an obstacle. Okay, it was a failure inside the train in which we are not looking at the moment. But of course, our technology is good for many things. Also, we've been approached by some operators to many use cases, including that, and some of them even offered that they will look on passing train and whether we can provide an alert for that. And from technological point of view, it is quite obvious that it is, yes, it is possible.
And we have another question from Joseph Salino. Joseph, I will go ahead and allow you to speak. Be sure to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, how you doing, guys? Yeah, my question, how many pilot programs are in place at present? And when do you think one of them is going to turn into a contract?
Well, I can disclose only the ones that we've reporting on the PRs. There are quite a few, some of them mainline, some of them switchyard. And the one that were disclosed are Rio Tinto, Israeli Railways. We were reporting about, no, we're not reporting that, sorry. And also in Japan, SBB Cargo. These are the ongoing pilots, or let's say deals. We expect that, you know, Israeli Railways is already a contract. So we expect that a few months or so, some of them will materialize, but this is a belief. I cannot say exactly when it's going to happen.
Okay, I understand recently that the regulatories are now pushing for a speedier, what do you want to call it? With this recent accident that just happened, that they had it set for 2029 to upgrade technologies for safety on railroads. They now pushed it to 2025. Have you seen an increase in activity on your end where, you know, companies are calling you more than usual?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We saw it for the last year. It was, you know, especially in the US, we saw a great change with approaching us. I think if you go to the public media, you can see some RFIs, not some, quite a lot of RFIs for very big companies, in which I cannot relate at the moment because it was not disclosed publicly. But yes, we see the impact. We see the need. Quite a lot accident take place in the US alone. Okay, give or take twice a day or something like that. Where the minority are, as far as I know, are from a technical failure.
Yeah, but now with this recent accident, you're not just talking about a railroad train wreck. You're talking about a chemical, accident where it's going to affect thousands and thousands of people, so wouldn't the insurance companies be all over this here?
Sure. Once we're going to install a few systems and they will understand the benefit, it will be mandatory. Exactly the same thing that happens with Mobileye. They work for quite a lot of time trying to push into the market, and just after understanding the value, the insurance companies stepped in. So now we understand that no vehicle, no car is without these measures. So with this system, so it's exactly the same thing we understand is going to happen with our technology as well. I can tell you that the accident that took place, I think it was in Minnesota 3 months ago, it was a derailment due to a collision of a freight train with a dump truck. That's for sure could be avoided, and all of the casualties and the huge damage that took place there could be avoided by just installing our system. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Joseph. We do have to move on to our additional questions. We do have quite a few here, but I appreciate the questions and your input. Lucas asks, when will you be posting your next earnings?
It will be on the coming 20th.
And we have another raised hand here from Jeff Bach. Jeff, I've allowed you to speak. Be sure to unmute your microphone.
How are you doing today?
You're good. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, there was a couple things that I wanted to ask about. One of which is that I wanted to see if you've made any plans as far as raising additional capital. As it stands right now, I'm kind of guesstimating that you might have 8 to 10 months worth of runway with the existing cash. I don't know if you've, have planned anything as of yet for any upcoming financial needs.
Yeah. I can tell you that it is quite clear that we're going to need another round, and we are planning according. We expect that just like the other rounds will be backed up, will be supported by Knorr-Bremse. So we cannot say more than that at the moment. It is quite obvious. Please let me know if answers your question.
Yeah, I was also wondering, being that most of your technology, I would assume at this point is sort of done, is there a way for you to reduce your current costs and or to, lay off employees or something until some bigger sales come through? Because your expenses right now are at about $800,000 a month. And being that the product is sort of done and finished and designed, I was thinking that a lot of those expenses could be done away with at this point.
Yeah, that's correct. I wouldn't say that it would happen the coming year, but later on. Again, it depends on the customers and the use cases, because we see that every customer would like his own flavor or its own, let's say, adaptation to the overall safety perception. So if it is paid, I don't care. It is what we have to do to support those customers, also from the technical point of view. Yes. So I don't see significant reduction in the human resources, but again, this we understand that this is a great cost for us as a company. But engineers, especially AI engineers, cost a lot, especially in Israel, cost quite a lot.
Yeah. Couple other questions. You were talking about the market size and so forth. And I think you said for the Rio Tinto thing, did you say that there's a potential that they would get it on 200 trains?
220, yeah.
220. What are the odds that they would? Because I know that area out there is desolate. It's not like they have intersections or even homes anywhere nearby that I know of. It's just out in the wilderness type thing, flat, rocky.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they came to us and and asked for this pilot and understood that there's a use case. There's some other use cases not necessarily related to safety, but let's go back to safety. They do have cows, kangaroos, people out there. We just detected in the Rio Tinto desert that somebody crossed the tracks. And this is a great deal for them because, everybody knows that they have money and everybody will sue them. So for them, it is a great thing to have this kind of system.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all it would take would be one accident of some type, and
Exactly.
even the roof, it'd mess up the train if somehow it derails. It's going to
Exactly. But beside of that, if they hit some cows and some cow and they have a lawsuit and they're public traded, it will impact probably, I don't know, of course, but probably will impact their share price. So why wouldn't they just invest in this kind of system and avoid from accidents as much as they can?
Yeah. Another thing too, I was going to ask about, I had mentioned before on a different conference call about that company in the UK that's also called Rail Vision.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be tremendous if you could hook up with those guys and somehow absorb them in or whatever. And I think what that would do, for example, as it stands right now, you have a product that allows you to see, forward and so forth. Their thing, I don't know if it would have been able to have noticed that bearing that overheated, but they're looking at brakes and everything else that overheat and so forth. So they probably could have done that. And what that would do, for example, if you take a look at a Greyhound bus system, for example, if you were to say that their business thinking was to transport people, from point A to point B, that is sort of a limited type of thinking. But what they did, they said, look, let's not just think of ourselves as a company that transports people, but let's think of ourselves as a transportation company. And what they do now, and they've done this for a number of years actually, is you can actually even move boxes with Greyhound bus system. You can go there, they'll actually ship big packages from station to station. That is, they don't do door-to-door delivery.
Yep.
But they're picking up, additional revenue by offering, they've widened their thinking. And so what I'm thinking about with your company, Rail Vision, is if it goes from a company that is thinking about vision to a company that thinks about safety. And I think that in itself is a big deal, because if you
we can even go more extreme. Okay, let me take your comment and just show you how far can we go just with having this technology. Well, Rail Vision UK is a infrastructure monitoring company. They monitor the tracks, and they, in a matter of fact, occupies the tracks while they are testing it. So this is not necessarily the same use cases that we are talking about, but of course, collaboration in the future is considerable, and not only with them. But as for talking about just sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I have a call, and I was just postponing that. Just a second, please.
Okay.
Okay, sorry for that, but now I'm free to talk as much as you want. So talking about, I'll tell you one use case that we filed. Okay, we filed a patent on that. When you are getting into a station, and you can, as a matter of fact, by using our technology, you can cluster. You can do clustering to the people that are about to entrain. For example, you can see that children are about to go to entrain to wagon or car number 4, you can target the commercials inside this wagon and do a Sony PlayStation and or Nike, whatever. And if it is males, for example, you can do it baseball or whatever you think it will be appropriate, and by that also generate revenues just because of commercials.
Yeah.
So there are endless possibilities of doing of generating revenues by using this technology of artificial intelligence. So, but now at the moment we have to do the penetration. We have to prove to the world that we are the best, in which we already prove to quite a lot of the customers. And now we are in this phase of having our customers happy and being, and only after that, we're gonna deal with the additional features that we can provide to our customers.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you for all the great questions, Jeff, but we have quite a few that we need to get to.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, let's go ahead and knock out one of these typed in questions, and then we'll move on to Calvin, who currently has his hand raised. William Morrison asks, if not LiDAR or visual, what type of sensor / what type of wavelength is used, and is it integrated on a chip?
We are not talking about radar or LiDAR. We're talking about visual, a very sensitive one, and also a thermal imager. Okay, both wavelengths are being used. Okay, so we're talking about visual, which is 0.4 to 0.7 micrometers, and a long wave, and the IR is on the long wave. Okay, which is around 10 microns. So it has an imager. The detector itself transform the radiation to an electrical signal. So this is what's going on. And also the great deal is doing that to this market, to this industry. So this is why we developed it, the optics and the sensors, not the imager, of course, but everything around that.
Okay, Calvin, I have enabled your ability to speak. Just be sure to unmute your microphone.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Good
can.
evening. Yeah.
What is the cost of installation on a locomotive for one of your units?
Of what? Sorry?
One of your detectors, long-range detectors?
Yeah. We're talking about, if we're talking about 1 to 10, or let's say quantities on the low end, we're talking about more than $200,000 per system, and the installation will cost somewhere around $10, $12, $16,000. Okay, we're talking about figures that are, let's say, reasonable at the market.
So like 220,000 per locomotive?
Even more than that.
Wow, it's a big decision for these guys to make.
Some of them already did.
And then the shipyard products, how much do they cost?
Give or take 50%.
50% of so half the price.
Yeah.
And then one final question: How many shares do you have outstanding? What's the capital structure look like?
It is about 16 million overall, and the float is around 6 million, something like that. The exact numbers are available.
Do you have any warrants outstanding?
Maybe, yeah. On the warrants, it was the IPO was a unit, means one share and one warrant.
So how many warrants? 16 million as well?
No. Around 6 million.
Oh, so 16 million shares and 6 million warrants?
No, out of the 16, 6 of them are...
6 warrants.
Yeah.
What's the strike price?
100%.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Shahar, we have several questions here, one from Michael and one from Marshall, asking about guidance in terms of number of contracts signed or revenue for 2023.
Well, we expect and we believe that we're going to have few customers this year, but since it was not disclosed anywhere, I cannot say anything about that. But you understand that even one customer is few millions, okay? So this may give you the sense of how our industry looks like.
Joseph, I see your hand raised. Let us knock out just a couple more of the written in questions and then we'll have you back on. William asks, are you working with OEMs of locomotives and other rail equipment companies to get this incorporated into the original equipment?
Now we are targeting, I cannot say that we are not talking with the OEMs, but this is not our main target at the moment. We are targeting the operators because they are the ones that pays the price. And if there will not be a demand from their side, the OEMs will not do it because the OEM respond to a tender. And if the tender will not require our system, we can just talk, okay? So at the moment, we are only, or let's say the main activity is talking to operators rather than talking with OEMs. But yes, it is quite obvious that we are doing that as well.
Here's a question from Caesar. He says, Rio Tinto 6-month LTP extension is also completed, ? And
Yes.
I have seen in Norbrem's site the LRV system as their digital solution for these kind of vehicles. Any update?
We are not considering the LRV as our main activity at the moment because there are quite a lot of, let's say, competition there and prices are very low. Why should we be active there? This is why we took all of our effort and put that on mainline and switch yard, which much better place to work in. So at the moment, we are talking with some customers, but we don't see the great deal doing with a few $1,000 system when we can do much better in other places.
Okay, Joseph, I have enabled you to speak again. Please be sure to unmute your microphone.
Yeah, thanks again for the call. I had a question in regards to the recent train accident. What steps are you taking to get more exposure for your company and your technology? You know, why aren't we seeing more, of your company's technology in the media?
Well, great question. I think that we did some steps. We are participating in quite a lot of rail conferences, rail news, rail gazette, many newspapers that are related to this industry. And I think that some of you might saw us in the CNBC channel. We did a campaign there and results were great. And we are considering to continue that. It is just how to do what the cost and the planning ahead of the purpose of this campaign.
Now, to your knowledge, your technology in the railroad industry is considered the best that's available today. And that being said, do you think that would become the standard down the road? Excuse me. Down the road?
I didn't hear the last sentence. Sorry.
I said that, you know, in today's world with the railroad industry, do you consider your technology to be the best? And with that being said, do you think it would become the standard where insurance companies would force the railroad industry to take advantage of your technology?
Okay, so for the first one, yes, I do consider our system the most advanced all over the world, and I can tell you that the competitors, as far as I know, are not even close. Okay, that claims that they can compete with us. I didn't see even one system that can go up to half a mile. Okay, I'm not talking about more than a mile in which we are positioning. I didn't see any system like that. Maybe there is that I don't know, but we don't know. Other companies don't know about this wonderful competitor that probably does not exist. Okay. So again, to our knowledge, nobody's even close to us. And about being a standard, I'll just repeat what I said regarding Mobileye. Once you have enough systems there, and you can prove statistically the benefit regarding safety, then for sure it's gonna. I believe that it's going to be mandatory to put that by the FRA or wherever it can be. Same thing that happens in the automotive industry.
Okay.
Thanks again for the great questions,
Thank you.
Joe.
Welcome.
Here's a question from Harold. When might we see an order from a US company?
Stay tuned.
Very optimistic. I like that. Here's another question. Can your technology be commonly used for, parentheses, autonomous trucks and buses? What about pricing?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, our technology can do a lot of things, okay? And once we develop the core technology, in which we did quite a lot of use cases, and I can tell you, no, I cannot tell you, quite a lot of things can be done there. Of course, I'm not sure that with trucks and buses, they need 2 kilometers, okay? They probably will need less than that, but there's some other applications that might be considered as relevant for our capabilities.
William Morrison asks, is this a part of the new positive train control system for the United States of America? Also, how does it communicate with the cloud for the AI interface?
Oh, this is a great question. PTC is all about, positioned static sensors. Some of you might saw my article that was released in one of the medias, and I was talking about the PTC, which is a great step for safety, but it is not enough. Okay, because when you have an obstacle, nothing can see that. Okay, beside our system. So as a full suit getting integrated into the PTC with our system, and we can report whatever we see, whatever interruption we might have, this is a great benefit. The PTC is the first step for safety, but it is only one part of the puzzle. Okay, so some of you you are asking about the inference of our artificial intelligence. No, we are not using any cloud or any infrastructure outside the edge computing in order to run it. So this is our significance. So we are running artificial intelligence in real time on edge computing. So we don't need, we're a standalone system. This is a great technology. Okay, I hope I answered your question.
We have quite a few questions from Behruz here. Number one, from your presentation, I'm guessing your target is mainly freight trains. I'm not sure, please clarify. And if you've had passenger train operations clients, how did you handle interfaces with current signaling and control systems and operation control centers?
Great question. The first answer for the first question is No, I mentioned through the presentation that our system is about to be installed with Israeli Airways also on passenger trains. Okay, the reason that we approach that the freight guys are faster, it is because they suffer quite a lot, and they are usually private held companies. In the US also passenger trains are the same, but those guys were the first ones, so the first come first serve, that's it. But passenger trains are definitely in our strategy. Okay, and as for integrating into other systems, first of all, we don't need to be integrated. We are a self-sufficient system which provide, which is an ADAS system. We are assisting the train driver by avoiding and alerting on obstacles. In the future, I believe that we will be integrated into the signaling system towards a fully autonomous operation. And this is relatively an easy task to do.
He also asks, how do you see your system in comparison with current systems used in passenger services like GIDS/WIDS?
Well, I don't think that these systems are related to obstacle detection, okay? As far as you know, no other technology or no other system is doing that. So therefore, again, the integration is maybe part of the requirements, but it has nothing to do together, okay? For the first being as an ADAS.
Michael asks, do you see railroads receiving a decrease in insurance premiums after purchasing a Rail Vision system?
Yes. Same thing that happens with Mobileye. No reason it will not happen with us.
And one final question from Jeff. Is it possible or feasible that your vision system can be integrated with the Norbrem's braking system for a faster braking response? Every 1/10 of a second is a big deal.
Yeah, usually if you're talking about 40 meters per second, so your question gets a lot of meaning. The answer to that, yes, this is of course a very straightforward strategy. And if you'll notice, Knorr-Bremse has established 2 years ago or 3 years ago a division of digitalization that takes into account also our system. So you can see that on their website as well.
Okay, Shahar, I'm not seeing any more questions in the queue. There were quite a few today. If you want to go ahead and wrap up the call by giving us your essential value proposition, why should investors take an interest in Rail Vision?
Well, as I mentioned before, we are the only one that managed to break the glass ceiling of penetrating into that market, doing all the homologation and proving that our system can help avoiding terrible accidents, and each accident costs so much. So it is quite clear that having our system is a great benefit for the operator. And another thing, as I mentioned a few times before, a half a year ago, 1 year ago, it will probably be the last time that you'll be able to invest in Rail Vision at this evaluation. So make sure that you don't miss the train, jump on the train, just make sure that Rail Vision system is installed on this train.
Thank you, Shahar. For more information about Rail Vision, reach us at 1-800-RedChip. That is 1-800-733-2447. Or email us at rvsn@redchip.com. Please visit RedChip's investor information page for Rail Vision, rvsninfo.com. There you can view and download the investor presentation, fact sheet, and sign up for news alerts. Please also visit the Rail Vision website, railvision.io. Thanks again to our many participants today, and thank you, Shahar.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure. Looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you.